here the topic, that is separation of substance. So this is the topic. So first let's look at what is meant by the separation. So separation, it is a process of separating one or more components. So this is known as that is separation. So this separation takes place in a mixture. So mixture means it consists of the one, two or more substance. So this is known as a mixture. So from this mixture we have to separate the one or more components. It means that we have to separate, that is the particles which we need from the, that is mixture, from the mixture. So this is the basic definition of the separation. Next, look at the types of separation. So first one, it is a hand picking. So this hand picking process is done for the large particles or substance. For example, if we consider that is rice, so we know that the rice is a large particle, we can be easily picked out by the hand. So for example, if we consider a rice, that would be like this. So this rice is a mixture of rice. For example, in general, we can consider it is a mixture of, that is small stones in it. So this is a mixture now. So we have to separate the, that is pure particle, that is we need here, it is rice. This is a rice. And here this small particle, that is a stone. For now, this is a impure particle, that is impurities. So we have to separate this. So after separating, we get, that is rice plus of the stone. So here the stone, it is a impurities, and rice, it is a pure particle. So this can be done by using the hand. So the process is known as the hand picking. Next one, it is a threshing. So threshing, it is a process that takes place by beating stalks to separate the grains from the harvested crop. This threshing process can be done by manually or by using the threshing machines also. So for example, if we consider this is a paddy plants. So it consists of the paddy in it. So this is in generally, for example, if we consider here the paddy plants. So after beating this paddy plant, we get that is paddy. So to separate the paddy from the paddy plant, so we have to use the process that is known as a threshing. Next one, it is a winnowing. So this winnowing, it is a separation method. So separation for the heavier and the lighter components in the mixture. So this particular winnowing process use the wind or the, that is air, that is blowing air. Normally this process can be used to separate husk from grains. Next one, this is a sieving. So sieving, it is a technique or a method which is used to, that is separate where the mixture is passed through, that is through the filter or a sieve. In this process, that is a large particles usually impurities do not pass through the sieve, do not pass through, that is the filter, or through the sieve. So by this process we can easily separate the that is pure particle as well as the impurities. So for example, if we consider a that is this is a sieve, that is sieve. So if we pour the mixture over it, so the large particles like this and the small particle like this is the small particle. So if we sieve, that is if we sieve the mixture, so the small particles get separated out of this sieving, that is mesh. So the large particles remain on the that is sieving mesh. So this process can be separate the that is impurities as well as the pure particle. So this is the pure and this is the that is the large particle, this is the impure. So this process is known as the sieve. So this is the sieving mesh. And next process, that is the filtration. So this is the filtration. Filtration, it is a process of passing the mixture through a filter to remove the solid particles from the fluid components so of the mixture So here the mixture, it is liquid, that is liquid. It consists of a solid particles also, solid particles. So for example, if we consider a that is the muddy water. So in a beaker, if we consider it is muddy water. So this is a muddy water. So by using a filter, we can separate the that is pure water from the that is dust particles or that is soil particles in a water. So that is, let's consider another beaker. So if we place the that is filter paper over it. So for example, let's consider this as a filter paper. So if we pour the that is muddy water through the filter paper, so the that is muddy components, that is this is the that is impurities, this will settled in a that is the filter paper itself. So we will get the pure form of water here. So this is the water. So here we separated the that is solid particle from the that is liquid. So this process is known as the filtration. Next one, that is the sedimentation. So in the sedimentation process, that is when the heavier components in the mixture settles when water is added to it. So this process is known as the sedimentation. So this can be used to separate grains from the dust. So for example, that is it is a beaker, so it consists of the grains, so as well as the dust particles. So if we add the water to it, so after adding the water, so the dust particles or a grain, that is dust particles, settle down so in the bottom, and this is the water. So the that is grain particles remain as it is. So the lighter particles settled at the bottom, and that is dust particles settled at the bottom, and the that is pure, this is the grains, and this is the dust particles. So we will get that is the layer here. So this is of the dust and this is of the grain. So this process is known as the sedimentation. Sorry, here the larger particles will get settled down and the dust particle will float on it. So this is, so here this is the water and this is that is grain particles will settle down, and here the dust particles, this will lighter particles will always float, that is float upside. So this is the dust and this is the grain. So this is the sedimentation. Next one, it is a decantation. So decantation, we can say that the decantation process, it is a continuation of the sedimentation. Let's look at how. So decantation process, it is that is after sedimentation. After sedimentation, that involves, that is removing the water along with the impurities, along with impurities. So let's look at how. So this is the beaker and this is the grain particles and here the water surrounded it. This is the water and in the top the dust particles are present. So if we remove the water from this, so this dust particles also comes out. So like this, at the bottom the grain particles will settle down, and in another beaker, that is the mixture, that is water plus dust particles comes out. So this is the dust particle. So this is the grains. This is the water plus impurities. So that is decantation plus sedimentation. Sedimentation will always leads to the, that is separation of the, that is pure particles as well as the impure particles. Next one, it is a condensation. So condensation process, it is a, that is conversion of water vapor into its liquid, that is due to the, that is liquid form, due to contact with the cooler surface. So this is known as the condensation. So here, for example, the formation of water droplets on the metallic lid, that is while boiling water. So this is the process of condensation. Next one, it is evaporation. So evaporation, it is a process of conversion of water into its vapor. So this is known as the evaporation. So this process of evaporation takes place continuously wherever water present. First, the evaporation takes place, and next the condensation takes place. So evaporation leads to the condensation, and that will leads to the, that is in our nature, that is after evaporation condensation takes place and then it will leads to the precipitation. So precipitation, it means that is raining. So this is in the nature. So this is the additional information. Next, look at why do we need separation. So as I already said, that is separation, it is a technique that removes the impurities from the mixture. So The purpose of separation it is, that is separation of or to separate harmful or the non-useful components of a mixture. So this is that is basic principle of the separation. So in order to remove the non-useful or harmful substance from the mixture, so the separation process is needed. So in the rice example, that is rice plus stone, the unwanted substance or non-useful substance, that is a stone. So after separating the stone, we get that is pure particle, that is rice. So here the impure, that is the stone. This is non-useful. So this is the basic principle or the main objective of the separation technique. Let's look at some questions. So first one, that is the method of separating seeds of paddy from its stalk. So it is known as that is threshing. So threshing is a separation technique which is used to separating that is paddy from the stalks. As already said, this is the paddy plants. So it consists of the paddy in it. So after beating this paddy stalk, we get that is pure paddy. So here this is the useful, and here the left out stalk, that would be the non-useful. So we separated that is non-useful thing from the useful thing. Next, the second question, that would be, that is the when milk cooled after boiling, it is poured into that is piece of cloth. The cream is left behind on it. So this process of that is separating the cream from the milk, this is known as the filtration. So here this is a piece of cloth, this is a beaker, this is a beaker. So if we place the piece of cloth over it, this is a piece of cloth. So if we pour the milk, this is pouring the milk. So that is solid particles, that is the cream. So this is a cream. So it will stay on the top of the cloth, and the milk, that is remaining liquid, that is secreted in a beaker. So this is the milk and this is the cream. So this is solid and this is the liquid. So the separation of, that is the process of separating a solid from the liquid, that is known as the filtration. So here the separation of the cream from the milk, this is the filtration. And next, that is this third question. Salt is obtained from the seawater, So this process is known as the evaporation. So here let's look at how. So for example, if we take that is a beaker of salt water, this is a beaker of salt water. So that is after evaporating, that is it consists of the salt particles also in it and the water in it. So after evaporating, that is water get evaporated, only that is salt particles remain in it. This is the salt. The liquid, that is the water, gets evaporate in order to give us the salt. So this process is known as the evaporation. Next, look at some true or false statements. That is true or false. So the first one, that is a mixture of milk and water can be separated by the filtration. So this is a false statement. That is because the filtration, it must need a, that is mixture of solid and the liquid. So here both the milk and the water, so this is also liquid, and here the water, it is also liquid. So filtration basic principle, it is that is liquid. So it must contain that is a solid as well as the liquid. So here both are the liquid, so it can, that is it cannot be separated through the filtration. And next one, that is the second statement, that is a mixture of powdered salt, powdered salt and the sugar can be separated by the winnowing. So this is also the false statement. That is because the winnowing, it is a separation of, that is lighter particle from the, that is heavier. Here the powdered salt as well as the sugar, it is of the, that is more or less same size. So that's why it is not suitable for the winnowing. Next question, that is the separation of sugar from tea can be done with, that is the filtration. So this is also the false statement. That is because when we put the sugar into the tea, so it becomes, that is sugar dissolves in a tea. So here it is a cup of tea. So if we add the sugar, so this is a tea. So that is sugar will get dissolves in it. So then the sugar, that is solid sugar, it get converts into the liquid. So we know that the basic principle of the filtration, it should contain the solid plus the liquid. So before adding into the tea, the sugar, it is a solid. So after adding, the solid sugar get dissolves, that is sugar gets dissolves in a tea, in the tea. So that is both becomes a, that is liquid. So it is against the, that is basic principle of the filtration, that is it should contain both the solid and the liquid. So here both are the liquid, so it cannot be separated through the filtration. So hence the, that is the separation of sugar from the tea, it cannot be possible. So it is the false statement. And next statement, that is the grain and husk can be separated with, the process of, that is decantation. So this is the incorrect statement. That is because, that is decantation, it is a separation of or removing of the impurities with the, that is water or liquid. So here this is a, that is definition of the decantation. So here in the given statement, that is grain and the husk can be separated by the process of sedimentation. So in the sedimentation, that is, this is a, it is grain, it consists of the husk. So after adding the water to it, so this is the water, so this, the grain gets settled in the bottom. So because it is a, that is heavier particle, so on the top of this, the, that is this particle or a husk will settle. This is the husk and this is the grain. So here we separated the, that is grain from the husk. So this process is known as the sedimentation. So we remove this husk and along with the water, that is grain, that is husk plus water. So this is the process of, that is decantation. So here the given statement process, that is the sedimentation. So hence the given statement, it is false. And the next question, that is the impurities settled at the bottom, when muddy water was kept overnight in a bucket. So the clear water was then poured off, then that is poured off from the top. So this process is known as that is sedimentation plus the decantation. So for example, let's consider this is a bucket. So it consists of the muddy water. So this is the muddy water. So that is, if we kept overnight, so what happened here, it is the large particles, that is the muddy, that means in the muddy water, it consists of the mainly soil. This is the soil. So this is the muddy water, this is the muddy water. So after some time, that is after overnight, the water will be, that is present over the soil. So here this is the impurities. This is the water. So here that is this is the solid, that is it becomes a solid, and here this is the liquid. So both get settled, that is this impurities settled at the bottom. So till this the process is known as that is sedimentation. So after this, after the sedimentation process, that is here the bottom soil will be there, and if we pour that is this pure water into another, that is bucket, so this is the pure water. So that is the separation of the liquid from the solid. So after the sedimentation, so this is known as the decantation. So we know that the after sedimentation, that is decantation done after sedimentation. So to separate that is impurities, that is the soil from the muddy waters, the process used it here, it is that is the decantation as well as the sedimentation. So these two processes are used. Here the process of sedimentation and the decantation can be used to, that is separation of the sand or that is soil plus the water from the mixture. So here the mixture, it is the muddy water. So this is the mixture. Here we are allowing that is muddy water to stay overnight. Now here the layer of that is soil as well as the layer of water is formed. So this is the that is layer of water, and this is the layer of soil. So till this the process of sedimentation is going on. After this we have to separate that is pure water from the that is mixture. So the next step, it is a decantation. And next look at the last question, that is it possible to separate sugar that is mixed with wheat flour? So answer is yes, it is possible to separate the sugar mixed with the wheat flour. Let's look at how. So for example, let's consider that is this is a wheat flour mixture of that is sugar. So the process is known as the sieving. So for this we have to use the filter, that is the kind of mesh. So this is the mesh. So if we pour the mixture of that is sugar and the wheat flour over it, so this is here, if we pour the mixture, so that is the mixture will be like this. So after sieving, we will get that is wheat flour here, and the sugar particles will settle on the top of the that is filter, that is mesh. So this is the sugar and this is the wheat flour. Wheat flour. So by using the sieving technique, we can easily separate the sugar from the wheat flour.